Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today I've already had an issue with my Jeep. I've owned it for about 1 month and I want to help you out. So this is pure just an informative video for you, for those of you who have run into a P0301 Cylinder 1 misfire with the 2020 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 4-door. Let's talk about it. Alright, so we're talking about the 2020 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon with the 3.6 Pentastar. So like I said before, got the P0301 code. I just want to, so you guys seen the Jeep if you've watched my previous videos. The Jeep is very clean. No one was racing it. No one was off-roading it and banging it around. It seemed like it was used for like a grocery getter. Just a really nice, one of the cleanest Jeeps I've seen in the area. And so what happened is I got the cylinder 1 misfire check engine light on. It went off for about 50 miles, and then 50 miles later it came back on. So I was like, what the heck? So called the dealer up that I bought it from. They're like, yeah, take it into Jeep. We'll cover everything. As far as like diagnostic, I do have a warranty on it. So after Jeep started looking into it, they didn't see anything on the surface level. So so to diagnose a cylinder 1 misfire, it can be a plethora of things, and I can't go through all of them here because I'm not a mechanic, but I can give you kind of like what I've read. So they changed the spark plugs, they changed the coil packs, didn't do anything. So what they had to do is, after that surface level work didn't work, they had to dive into the engine. And I'm gonna read you what they did. And then we're going to talk about it a little bit so you guys can see what we're doing. So they basically they performed a diagnostic and found the misfire. They performed a cylinder leakage test, less than 20%. They did a compression test. They swapped the coils. They swapped the injectors and the spark plug. And the misfire stayed with cylinder 1, meaning they did everything on the surface and it stayed. So obviously it's none of those problems, right? They inspected cylinder 1 with the bore scope and they found traces of coolant in the cylinder. Okay, so now we've got coolant leaking into the cylinder. Pressure tested coolant system saw coolant dripping into cylinder 1 from the head gasket. So there it is. So in layman's terms, you have a blown head gasket. So 59,000 miles on this Jeep, y'all, and we have a blown head gasket, and I would have never guessed. Now, the one thing they did mention in their video is, on startup, it was a rough idle, but even I could barely justify it as being rough. It, like a cold vehicle, you start it up, takes a second, and it warms up, right? But they said for about 30 seconds, it was a rougher idle, and then eventually when the engine warmed up, about between 30 seconds and a minute, it would burn that coolant off. But there was no steam coming from the exhaust. There was no apparent coolant loss either, because I was checking the coolant levels, because I tried to self-diagnose this, right? I tried to be a YouTube diagnostician, right? It didn't work for me because all I could see was surface level, and the engine is very clean. It wasn't leaking oil. There was no apparent signs. To me, there was not a rough idle, but of course they had their machine plugged in and they could see the rough idle, so that's why they said it didn't last for long. It was only during a cold start would you see this issue. So just wanted to kind of lay that out there, trying to be as information give you guys as much information as you can to take this information maybe to your mechanic or whoever's diagnosing your vehicle's problem, because I know the P0301 code is a mystery to some people and it can be a pain in the butt. I've seen people and read about people chasing this code all over their engine and costing thousands of dollars. Luckily, my dealer seemed to kind of know where to look, as they should. Their Jeep dealer, right? Like, you should know how to diagnose a Jeep, especially when the engines have these problems. But the craziest part is if you know the symptoms of a misfire, my Jeep didn't have any of those symptoms. It didn't idle rough. From me, I didn't feel any rough idles. I've been around Jeeps all my life. I didn't really feel any rough idles. And then, it didn't jerk, it didn't hesitate. I had tons of power. There was no loss of power. So it didn't have your, clear-cut symptoms of a blown head gasket. Now, I'll put a picture up here about the pressure test they did, but what I would recommend for people that are kind of stuck or they don't know what to go from here, that pressure test is where they found and watched that leak with a borescope. So they pressure tested it, put a camera in there, and watched it. They're like, what's going on here? Because they had to diagnose it. So what is this? You know, what the heck is leaking in here? So they ended up finding that leak, and I'm going to tell you kind of what they replaced on this. Just because it's kind of a little long list, but you know they had to do it. And the caveat, the cherry on top to this story is, I bought this Jeep. It had 59,000 miles, right? So I had 59,400 miles on this thing. So the Jeep was within 600 miles of running out of its factory powertrain. I was prepared to go through my warranty that I had bought with the Jeep, and I was getting ready to fork out some cash to fix this. But then I got the phone call saying, hey, you're still within factory warranty, it expires in May, or 60,000 miles, you're at 59,400, we're paying for everything and you get a rental. I'm like, whoa, thank you so much. We have a baby on the way, you know, thank you. Oh my gosh, that would have been a $5,000 fix, y'all. It's expensive. This is, you know, having the labor to diagnose it, then fix it is expensive. So just to go over this, they replaced the cylinder head cover. They replaced the exhaust flange to the cylinder head, chain, the gasket chain case cover, gasket cylinder head cover, gasket intake plenum, gasket intake manifold. They redid the antifreeze, the adhesive for the gaskets. They did a full oil filter change, and then gasket EGR tube flange. There's 2 of those. Seal crankshaft oil. And that comes with a 2-year unlimited mile warranty, of course, on those same parts. So if those same parts fail within 2 years, I'll get a warranty. If the head gasket fails at all, the head gasket is warranted because they had to replace the entire head gasket. So I hope this was informational to you, and I know again, a lot of people chasing this code around, and I hope you guys don't ever get it, but if you do, maybe this video helped you out a little bit. So please like and subscribe. We're going to be making more Jeep videos and of course mods, but I know I've only owned the Jeep for a month, had to do this, but you know, at the end of the day, it all worked out, and the Jeep is still just such a great looking Jeep, and we really like it. I might feel a little different if I had to pay $5,000 to fix it. But you know, again, it all worked out. So God bless. Thank you all for watching the video, and I hope this helped you.